What's up, y'all? It's just Rhonda. Welcome to my channel. It's Monday night. We're over here to get into these Real Housewives of Atlanta. It's season 17. It's episode 3. Woo! How's everybody doing tonight? Did y'all enjoy the show? I did. You know, I told y'all I'm trying to look at these Housewives franchises with different eyes. What's up, Shayna? How's it going, Chica? We out here trying to keep up, girl. We out here trying to keep up. I hate it when they have all these shows piled in one day after another. I feel like Sunday and Monday is just tied into YouTube. But we here, we over here, doing the thing. If you want to catch these reviews, these Housewives reviews, Bell Collective, and other things on OWN and such, check out my girl Shayna underscore MCD. She's got that content over there as well. Shayna, did you like the show? I did. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, I'm trying to look at these shows with different sets of eyes. There's performances going on over here. Where's your girl at? Here I am. Here with y'all. Bankruptcies, bimbos, and a leaking bum. That's what was going on over here on RHOA. The show starts with K. Michelle still in the hospital. She in the hospital because we know she had a disaster over there happening while she was trying to perform down to the country awards or ceremony or whatever things that she was doing over there performing, because that's what she does. So because she had an infection with a tremendous leak. Is it just me? This is going to sound mean and, sorry, not sorry, but K. Michelle could not come sit on my furniture after she said she sat up there and leaked all over the people's furniture to the point the couch was soaking wet. We're going to have to go sit on the patio furniture, and I'm going to have a pillow that I could probably do without. You know what I'm saying? When it comes to these housewives, you said it's absolutely a performance, and it has been for a while. The new girls have some fresh stories. I agree. The new girls have some fresh stories, but I feel like K. Michelle is still a performer. It's okay. I just don't want to be trying to, review it from the perspective of this is reality TV going on over here. And it's just the housewives, I feel like. Like when you go in Beverly Hills and Atlanta especially, it's a lot less real life and a lot more scenes. So scene 1. K. Michelle, she's in the hospital, and she said the ladies have checked on her. I guess she had whatever surgery she was supposed to be having. What's up, Lotus Egyptian Flower? Now, do you watch the Housewives, or are you just over here supporting your girl? Because I love that too. Anyway, she said the ladies checked on her. That's a good thing. I think for the most part, nobody has any real beef yet. So that's the thing to do when you have a castmate over here with an emergency surgery. But straight out of emergency surgery, K. Michelle has her glam squad come over there and set her up to go film. What's up, Elsid? Elsid says she passing through, and she would like for y'all to hit the like button. Go ahead and hit the like button right quick before we get really into things. But yeah, so she has a glam squad come over to this hospital, and I appreciate the love. Get her glammed up straight out of surgery so she can be wheeled out of the hospital and straight over into a scene down to the what do you call it? Nail salon. So K. Michelle and who is it over there? Well, when we'll get to that. We'll get to that, child. We'll get to that. I'm getting ahead of myself. Before we go to that, Drew was over here visiting with Angela. So Drew, now that we know what we know, I feel like, young lady, that a wig looks expensive. That wig looks very expensive. It's not only got length, inches, and all the things, bundles and things. It's got a little color situation. Somebody put a lot of work into that wig. What you say, Lotus Egyptian Flower? Yeah, K. Michelle is that real life? I think a lot of what's going on with K. Michelle, Lotus Egyptian Flower, she's performative, but she's got some things going on that you can't act about. So yeah, K. Michelle was at a performance. I'm gonna just catch her up real quick. K. Michelle was at a performance and she was sitting down, and apparently she had a wound an infection in her ass from these illegal silicone shots. So at no given time is she going to be able to know that her silicone may start oozing out of her ass onto someone's sofa. And she had to get blow dried down before her performance. She said the sofa was soaking wet. And this wound has been here for quite a while. So that's what she's doing over here. So that kind of stuff you can't make up. And unfortunately for these girls, there's a reason why, doctors have to go to school to learn things, and you don't just go somewhere getting illegal injections. And I'm not trying to, dog the lady. She did what she did. And now, there's consequences for your actions. So yeah, she got glammed up to go over to the nail salon. Anyway, Drew is over here with her lovely bundles, even though how much is those bundles for somebody who only making $12,000 a month, $155,000 a year? Like for some people, that's not a bad number. For some people, I could live quite comfortably, to be honest, off of $155,000 a year. It'll be, nothing grand. I won't be able to spend thousands on bundles and thousands on Judith bags and things. But, it's one thing to be over here living this housewife lifestyle on a budget of $155,000 a year. But Drew said that's how she making her money. She said her money is coming from the acting. So I don't watch Tubi. So she said she's flying back and forth. She's flying back and forth, in and out over there, to make movies. Have y'all seen any? Because I haven't. Side note, Angela's daughter, Amari, is home from college. And Amari is calling the girl's wife her partner. Angela, you're going to have to, they're married now. So, I guess they're there. There's been some tension because the young lady went and got married without telling her mother, but maybe it's because you're calling her wife her partner. A partner is somebody you're not matrimony to. I'm just saying, you're trying to downplay what's happening over there, Angela, just to make yourself feel better. But yeah, Drew said that's how she pay her bills for making these movies. And I guess because if she's making less than 155,000 over here on the Housewives, I don't believe it. This is why people say Drew be lying. I'm not a Drew fan because she's another one who always come over here. She's acting. Ralph is acting, and this new man who she brought over here is a terrible actor, but they all over here acting. So her story that she brought over here is how she's struggling with motherhood. It's so hard to be flying back and forth. And when I get home and the kids, I'm trying to keep up. And Angela's saying, yeah, it's hard to have mom guilt. But the people said, she's slacking so much that these kids can't get to school. And so she no longer has custody of those children. Ralph has primary custody of the kids. And Drew, whatever you're doing over here on the Housewives is not making your case look too good over there on the other side. So Angela says she still wants to do real estate. She said, hopefully she will do it one house at a time because, it doesn't make sense. And based on what we're seeing here, I feel like Angela is trying to get into the real estate game. But, it takes a lot of experience and knowledge and studying to be able to sell these luxury homes. When people, when you're dealing with people that are spending a lot of money, you're going to have to spend a lot of time educating yourself on, things that go on wealthy people property. So if she's going to start out with, just a regular home for regular people, just to get her feet wet and start, learning the business, I think that's the smartest thing she should do. So I'm not going to say she shouldn't do it. She's over there. She's got things going on and she has the means to do it. I just think nobody with any good sense goes and gets 5 houses to sell and you have to upgrade them all at the same time. She flipping homes one at a time, Angela. They start talking about Black. Drew said he ain't really her man, even though she didn't let him feel on her booty one time or maybe a few times, but that's where the conversation went. She said he's just somebody going through the same exact thing that she's going through. And I'm like, so is he divorced? Is he coming out of a relationship? Does he have a woman living under his stairs that, they're in court trying to fight over who's going to get the property? What is it that he's going through? Because we don't see it. We see you going through it out here in the internet, but This dude is corny. I hate it when okay, I don't hate it. I really don't think about it that much, but I find it very annoying and irritating when these women are going through divorces and then they start seeing someone else but we're just friends. Stop it. You're not just friends. You've been going through this divorce for 3 years, and whatever your relationship is after 3 years, because I wouldn't let Ralph hold my ass up for 3 years. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, you make moves, handle your business, and keep this man. You know what I'm saying? Stop playing like dates and then calling yourself friends. Nobody is stupid over here. If you're going to be discreet, nobody has to know your business. But then, we wouldn't be able to do this TV show. And when you get on these reality shows, you got to come with a man, or else people are going to start asking you why you don't have no man, or that's why you got no man, or you're just paying this man to be around. That's, it's the same across the board on all of them. So she brought a man. He's on the phone in, other places. Yeah, girl, what exactly is he going through? Drew sits up and has to Google what is a date. Girl, stop playing in my face. This is why she gets on my nerves, because of stuff like this that she does over here. So K Michelle told y'all she got glammed up to go meet these ladies over at the nail salon. And when I tell you, she wheeled herself out of the hospital bed over into this pedicure, manicure chair, and we gonna hope like hell that nothing else explodes in her ass, because those chairs are very expensive. So yeah, they over here. Who is it? It's Portia, Cynthia. Phaedra's there, but she doesn't need to be pictured because she ain't bringing shit to the table. So really, the only people that we need to talk about are Portia, Cynthia, and K Michelle. Her husband then walked her to the door. The person that works in the salon had to escort her to the chair. She's like, I just left out the hospital, child. So she has to tell her story. Girl, I was over at the Country Music Academy and I was sitting on the sofa. All of a sudden, I was sitting in a pool of water, liquid, all over the couch, all over my dress. The people had to blow me dry. Portia was like, did you have a miscarriage? K Michelle's like, well, in the moment, she said, that's what I thought. But then in her confessional, she's like, what's wrong with this girl? Why would she say something like that to me? Why would she ask me about a miscarriage? And I was like, girl, you said you were sitting in a pool of liquid. So, I mean, that will lead one to believe that something maybe like that happened. Portia maybe jumped the gun a little bit in her Portia way because she's kind of stupid. But I mean, I think K Michelle being offended by that is her putting 20 on 10. K Michelle said this wound in her butt is 8 months old. So she's been dealing with this same particular wound for the last 8 months. Why is K Michelle looking older than Patti LaBelle? She walking older than Patti LaBelle too, because all of her ass injuries, she can't even walk around regular. You know what I mean? When she performed, you put a real tight dress on her. All she got to do is stand in front of the microphone. We don't need her to move around to sing. But yeah, K Michelle is moving around like somebody like, okay, this is her situation, Lotus Egyptian Flower, if you didn't know. She went and she had a BBL, but she also had illegal silicone injections in her ass. So for the rest of her life, the silicone will be, trying to escape her body. And apparently it forms in an infection that burst. And then she has to have surgery. So she's going to be going through this surgery shit until forever from now on. Ooh, that's going to be terrible as she ages, for real, for real. But, like I said, people going to do things illegally. And I feel for her because I definitely feel like it was the pressure of the industry, and she live in Atlanta. So Atlanta is the city of the asses. I'm glad those are no longer a thing, but it's not just K Michelle. She had that show. If you haven't seen that show that she had about them botched surgeries and the stuff that those girls were going through, it is super sad. And most of the time, like, they'll go to the Dominican Republic or Colombia or wherever the hell they fly off to go get these surgeries that they can't afford. And then they come back over here. And if something goes wrong, they don't have the money to be going to the doctor. K Michelle at least has the means to handle it. But yeah, so this is a surgery that's been healing for 8 months. And I have a client who was very heavy. She showed me the pictures. I didn't meet her when she was plus size. Like, she was very much obese. Like, I want to say 300 pounds to some extent. And then she got the surgery, the lap band surgery, whatever surgery it is, they get the weight loss surgery. And she got a lot of skin. So after she lost all the weight, she had to get skin removed. And she says she has an unhealed wound in her back. This is my client that she's had for 2 years. And I'm like, for 2 years, you've been with a wound that, where you have to change. When you have an open wound, you're so susceptible to infection. It's wild. I can't imagine going through that for 2 years. And I was telling her about a wound care specialist that I, dealt with my mother. But my mother was in her 80s suffering from diabetes. But he managed to get her wound healed, and she was a diabetic. So I don't know, but that's a thing with this plastic surgery stuff that these ladies go through. They end up with wounds, open wounds, and things that they have to heal. Portia, as a matter of fact, K. Michelle brought up that she had dealt with the same thing. So apparently Portia, the way she said it was, she had an incision burst, and she was dealing with a wound on her breast. So these women are all fluffy and puffed out and stretched out and blowed up in Atlanta, and they're walking around with open wounds underneath these dresses and gowns and things. Golly, that's a lot. That's a lot. And when you look at these titties over here, these titties look like they could explode at any minute. So I'm not surprised. Like, they be going for stretching. And when you want to take that shit out, your titty gonna hang down on, flat like a pancake. So all of them, Cynthia, K. Michelle, they all have enhancements. It's wild. What women go through. What women go through, like I said, in the name of beauty. I don't know whose idea that was, but don't let me get off on a different tangent. So what else was going on over here? Yeah, she's offended. And I'm not sure why, because I don't really feel like Portia was saying anything. When you say I was sitting on the sofa, you know what I'm saying? And all of a sudden I'm sitting in a pool of water. I feel like the first thing you do go to, your thought is like water breaks, you know what I'm saying? All over the stuff. And nobody in their mind is going to imagine that you have a wound on your ass that's seeping out some kind of liquid that would cover your clothes up without you even knowing. So that means she don't even have no sensation. She didn't even know she was sitting in a pool of wet. Whoo-wee. And y'all be worried about finding a husband. To do what? Change your bandages? It's a good thing this man been around her for so long, because I don't know that no new dude is going to be doing all that. Anyway, they fill Kay in on what happened over at Kelly's grand opening, and the whole fallout between Kelly and Portia. But Kay was there when Portia accused that lady of sleeping with somebody's husband, so I'm sure she's not surprised at all, that there was a fallout over there. Cynthia, she's a friend of, she's very seasoned. She knows how to keep things moving over here. So she asked K. Michelle the messy ass question: do you think there was any truth to it? You know what I'm saying? About, Kelly sleeping with a married man. K. Michelle says she do not know what anything that lady is doing with her hot pocket. So, and I don't blame K. Michelle. Yes, that's Portia's mess. Keep me out of it. I don't know what she over there. She said Kelly with the big titties, the little lady with the big titties. She is that. I think hers are real though. I don't think hers are enhanced. Cynthia, you know what a hot pocket is. Stop it. She's sitting up there telling me what is a hot pocket. So the royal family, they out on a walk. They taking the kids to school. Y'all was out here, saying Gerald needs to come film. And when I say y'all, I mean me. So, here he is. It's one thing though, filming with your family, but Gerald absolutely does not engage with the rest of the cast. And so, I guess he came over here. He gave a little some common sense, something that his wife doesn't have. So they was dropping the little girl off at school. And she said it was a hot pocket. That's not what I said. That's what K. Michelle said. She is not involved in that lady's hot pocket. I think that's what you talk about. But anyway, Grandpa Gerald is over here taking his baby child, walking the baby, to school, and they got the other baby in the stroller. And Shamia is over here, she wants to discuss this rum company that she has gotten herself involved in. What it seems like Shamia is over here doing is being like Leticia Pearson, looking for her financial independency. So I feel like that's what's going on over there. She asked Gerald, like, what did he think about, her rum company? And he said, it's fine. Like, you could tell he's reluctant. And he said, you just gonna have to put in some work. And is that something I feel like now, like that I see how she's handling business, I know why he said that, she said he almost talked them people out of doing business with her. And he sat on the phone with him, and he does what a businessman does. And Gerald ran the numbers and seen like, does it make sense? He asked all the questions that a businessman would ask. And then he said, financially, like, I don't see how, it's going to make sense to me. So yeah, it's a no. But she wants to have something on her own. And I won't even say, oh, not the royal family. Yes, child. This is the Atlanta Royals. Gerald, he's not, like I said, he's a businessman. It didn't take him long. He knows what questions to ask. And I don't think Shamia should necessarily give up, if she wants to have a rum Miss Shot O'Clock, then I'm not mad at that. But you need to do the research. You don't just get to go over there and be like, I'm going to call it this, and my bottles are going to look like this. And, you need to get them numbers together. Numbers first, decorations later. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, she's going to have to put in work. And clearly, she has a lot to learn. And she's trying to do things from Grenada. Like, we're going to go out of the country to do stuff when we don't even know how to do business here locally. Last season, she was a singer. This year, she's a rum connoisseur. Is she? Or did she just go over to Grenada? And it's funny because Grenada was Kelly's thing. Kelly was the one, I thought, with the contact over there in Grenada. But here goes Shamia. Anyway, we'll see. We'll see what happens with Shamia and her rum company. Based on what I'm seeing, I feel like, yeah, Gerald, I'm with him. I don't know. The money ain't making sense. And so she got some more studying to do. Pinky, where is Pinky? Did I not put her up here? Why would I do that? Let me see if I can find it. Here we go. Pinky went and had a little meeting with her lawyer. This lady, okay. She went over to the lawyer to talk bankruptcy, and she tried to explain to us, what had happened, and why she got herself in this predicament. She said she lost her business, and then she said in 43 days she managed to, to buy her business back. But when she bought the business back, there were lawsuits attached to it. And when she made her company, she made herself the gratuitor. So her lawyer was like, you had an attorney that allowed you to make yourself the gratuitor. That means if anything goes wrong financially, personally, she's responsible for paying that back. So maybe Pinky is a little bit like Shamia, and she be moving without knowing, how to move. She also said her CFO took money from the company. When you have something so big, and it feels like, because Stormy had the same problem, them CFOs and CEOs and these people that you be giving titles to, they always be the problem, it seems like, because, you got to grow. Just because you put somebody in position doesn't mean you take your eyes off. And the way Pinky tells a story, she's giving bits and bits of information. You know what I'm saying? We know she started in her kitchen, from her kitchen to the food truck, from her food truck to the, franchise and 14 locations. And so there's a lot of business and steps that, happen in between that maybe, she's learning on the fly, and she's finding out, now, like the repercussions. And so she's filing bankruptcy. And her lawyer asked why her husband wasn't there. And I was like, what do you mean, why is he not here? That's not his business. But also, her saying he doesn't know that she's there, I feel is weird. Like, Pinky, why are you moving in such secret behind your husband and on such a big thing? Like, we were like, oh, they're cute. But I feel like Pinky might be a problem. This man was saying he humbled her, but she might be the problem. She definitely keeps secrets away from her husband. Big things. I think when you're a partnership with someone, even if your partner doesn't have any say so in your business, he definitely, I feel like, should be a sounding board. You know what I mean? Because he's affected by what happens with your business. So yeah, she over here with a lawyer keeping secrets from her husband. um Pinky is a whole telenovela. When she starts talking, now she's crying and she's so, over the top. She's an actress too, or at least she wants to be. I'm not a fan of her acting. I would like for Pinky to just say what's going on. She'd be sitting in that confessional with that garter belt suit on, looking like she about to perform at, the burlesque show with a top hat and Sonia Morgan. Anyway. That's what Pinky is over here doing. She's visiting a lawyer about a bankruptcy and she's not mentioning any of these details to her husband. So that's weird. She meets up actually with Cynthia and K Michelle. Pinky and K Michelle are both Deltas, so they sorority sisters, so they're on that Greek love. And Cynthia is the OG. Isn't it interesting how Cynthia is over here? Is she the leader of the show? Is she what do they call it? The head mother? I don't know. Because when the season started, we started with Cynthia dressed up like Portia. And now she's over here. I want to get to know you, new girls. She's hosting the new girls at a luncheon. Anyway, here go Kay Michelle out in these streets again with an open wound on her ass, ordering tequila shots or whatever, vodka, whatever she's drinking, along with her antibiotics. Don't you have to take antibiotics for about 14 days? I'm just saying. You got a hole in your ass that's not healing. So I feel like there's some kind of antibiotics that Kay Michelle is taking. You know what I'm saying? And then she's over here out in these sorry, y'all. She's over here out in these streets, sitting down on these people's public seating. You know what I'm saying? Opening yourself up for other infections, having cocktails on antibiotics. Okay, Kay Michelle. They start discussing her Twitter fingers. So she says she was activated and she called somebody a bimbo. So apparently, after she left this nail date, she was so upset with Portia for saying miscarriage that she got activated and she had to go over to Twitter and call the lady a bimbo. But the bimbo don't even know she's the bimbo in question. And I feel like I remember when this happened and everybody was on the blogs. I don't talk about these people until they come back. So unless something really big happens, with one of them, that's worth discussing, that comes into like celebrity gossip, I'm not talking about what they got going on. But I did see, we didn't know if K Michelle was filming or if she was a housewife for real or what have you, but we do know she was out here tweeting that somebody was a bimbo. And they was like, is she talking about Drew? No, this one she's still following it. We going down to see who's following who and child. So it wasn't Drew. Drew was not the bimbo. It was Portia, because Portia suspected that she may have had a miscarriage since something in her body busted all over the sofa. Now we're mad at Portia. And I feel like there's many reasons to be mad at Portia, but this ain't really one of them. Portia's kind of a dingbat. And, anyway, maybe I wouldn't have said that. I don't know, but I don't know what we're mad about, K Michelle. Kay Michelle is a little bit sensitive. I don't know if I could be bothered with her because she's very high maintenance and her emotions is very, fragile. She said she was being Kelly'd. And I was like, Kelly, you compare that to Portia bringing that lady out to a lunch date to tell, the whole world that she's been sleeping with a married man? That's the same thing as asking you, girl, nah, I don't know that you were Kelly'd. She's really upset about it. I don't get it. She asked Cynthia, what's up with Phaedra? All she do is giggling all the damn time. She does. She be sitting over there giggling with her tongue hanging out of her mouth. We don't know what's up with Phaedra, but we know the Phaedra fans. Shout out to my girl El Cid. She loves some Phaedra, but she ain't supporting Phaedra because she don't even watch this show. I'm just saying. Phaedra has a lovely confessional. That's all I can say. She had a pretty blonde wig on and a pretty blue dress. Pinky said Phaedra was out here in these streets telling people that she eats meat. And I think that's definitely not cool. It's one thing to talk about people and do whatever shade you're doing, but that can affect her business. And, people love a good story. And we'll run with that. Even if it's not true, then the next thing you know, people be like, I heard she's not even vegan. It doesn't take but a quick second for some of that to spread like wildfire and affect her business. So yeah, Phaedra, that sounds about right. So I don't think Phaedra is over here. I don't think Pinky is feeling Phaedra. She said the lady be eating dead people. I don't, and now see, when you say something like that, that's not going to affect her business. We don't think that's the case, but she does often have her tongue hanging out of her mouth. So we don't know. Pinky is over here telling these ladies like what she's been going through. And, she keeps saying like she's been carrying it on her shoulders. And I really am curious as to why Pinky feels more comfortable over here with K. Michelle and Cynthia, who she's just met, to discuss her personal business. She says she feels like it's a safe space and it's nice to be around people that she can vent to, but she can't have these conversations with her husband. Where's the pillow talk? Where's the part where y'all lay in bed and you cry in his arms because you're carrying this weight and it's so heavy, and he doesn't have to necessarily do anything to save you, but just be a listening ear and let you get that shit out. You know what I'm saying? But she doesn't want to tell him. She's hiding it from him. And I find that to be very strange. So here go this girl wasting our time with this date with this bad actor. He done came in with flowers and, it's like act 1, go, action. Child. They sat down at this table. He was saying all these corny ass lines. It was really actually hard to watch, to be honest. And then, rubbing on her leg, and see, he said he got a gift for her kids. And I was like, you got what for her kids, child? I don't like it. Leave her kids out of it. And, he was saying stuff like, we don't know to the future. We don't know what the future holds. We can be friends with benefits. And he basically said he's trying to be friends with benefits because he ain't putting in this work for no good reason. So she better be putting up some of that thing because, he's trying to get to it. And if he got to buy a few gifts for her kids, Drew, this is not a good look. It's just not. It's just not. And it's not even that, you are dating, because like I said, 3 years is a long time to be tied up, with a man in your basement. But if it were me, I would let that man have that house. And I would find a house or an apartment in the same school district with my children, so that wouldn't be an issue. Like, that's what being a mother is about. Sometimes you have to sacrifice while you rebuild, remix, restart, whatever it is you're doing without this husband of yours, Ralph. He went and bought that house while you were on vacation anyway. You didn't even know he did it. I don't see why you would be that attached, to something that has such horrible memories. But, all for show. Maybe she can't get something that she feels like it's housewife worthy. But since Angela is her good friend, she can go ahead and hook her up with that house that she's over there trying to sell. Trying to flip. These people said I love you to each other, and I was like, ciao. Okay. Speaking of Angela's house, she's purchased a home. She spent $159,000 on this house that is gonna flood as soon as it rains. All of these houses on this side of the street have their driveways directed towards the house. So when one of them good Georgia storms come through and the water start rolling down them hill, all of those houses sitting at the bottom of the hill, for goodness sakes, are going to be soaked. The garage, the first floor, and I'm just telling you, when I look at houses, if I see one that's like dipped down like that, I'm like, absolutely not. And then every time you pull in you're pulling out of your driveway, you got to back up that hill out onto the street. Angela, what was it about this house that was so appealing to you? Was it the price? And okay, it's going to need a little work. It's $159,000. So, I mean, maybe she doesn't have to put too much work into it. You know what I'm saying? To sell it, that front porch, that's gonna have to be replaced. That's the insurance issue. People come up there and trip on your stairs, and then they be trying to sue you, and then your homeowner's insurance is gonna get pinged. So I don't know. Angela admitted that this was an emotional purchase. She lost her mother, and then she had that issue with losing. She said something like $2 million on all those 5 houses. So I get it. I don't think Angela has anything to prove to anyone else. I think this is something that she's trying to prove to herself. Unlike Pinky, she did talk to Charles. They had a conversation about the house, but she didn't tell him that she pulled the trigger. But I mean, it's fine. I feel like as long as it's not costing him, you know what I'm saying? He probably would have wanted to be included. And I get why she didn't tell him, because she doesn't want to hear anybody try to tell her not to. Her daughter was not very encouraging. The house is full of spiders. I don't know. Angela's seen something in this house. I think at 159,000, if she doesn't dump too much into it, trying to fix it up, maybe plant some plants out there, get it looking appealing to someone, like she said, it's a single family home. So it ain't really a seller's market right now. I feel like she could probably recoup a little bit of money though. Off of $159,000 investment. I'm not gonna say it's a bad thing, but hopefully it'll make her boost her emotions, because she's coming off of a loss of, like I said, her mother is a tremendous loss. And then the $2 million on those 5 houses, that's a personal thing, for herself. So I think I don't think she's going to find herself in the same situation. She's not looking to make big money. I feel like it's a good way to learn the business if you're going to be in it. So I'm not going to criticize it too much, but I ain't moving in no house that's, got the driveway down in a ditch. Good luck getting homeowners insurance on a house that's in a flood zone. I'm just saying. I used to work for Allstate when I lived in Atlanta, and I learned a little bit about how that works. And they will not cover you if your house is in a flood zone, like Kenya down there in the middle of that. Kenya's house is way down. She love it though, child. Anyway, she says she needs a win after so many losses. So I hope she gets it. Shamia, even though her husband told her it was not a good idea, she went over there anyway to have a meeting with the rum people over in Grenada. So she's meeting, in a conference room with her people. I don't know, some lady and some man with a green suit and a green beard. And she said he's not a leprechaun, but, I'm concerned, of your choice, but, maybe he knows his stuff. I don't know. I really wasn't paying attention to what the people's titles were. She has the people over in Grenada on a Zoom call. They're sitting in front of a bunch of bottles of liquor, looking like they're in some type of office building of, dispensary or whatever the hell. Anyway, she has a great idea. She wants to come up with a rum. She wants to call it, she wants a peach flavored rum, and she wants to call it Rum Bum, and she wants to get a mold of her butt. I don't know what she plans to do with the mold of her butt. And then she stood up in the middle of her business meeting and shake her booty so that they can see that she, like I said, she wants a mold of her butt. I don't know what she's going to do with the mold of her butt. And she wants to call her rum her peach rum bum. Only problem is peaches don't grow in Grenada. So I guess when she was over in Grenada, smoozing with these people, she didn't bother to ask any of the questions, the proper questions. Gerald asked all the questions and she wanted to move forward. But unfortunately, Rum Bum, the peach rum, won't probably be able to be peach because they don't have peaches over there. So what flavor is the rum? Do you know what fruits are native to Grenada? I don't think so, because she was over here already in her mind making her butt mold for her peach rum that, I guess we'll just have to import. See, this is where I say she's not that much smarter than her friend Portia, because you can't just be importing fruits to other countries. There's, other things, laws, distribution, things that you clearly you haven't studied, Shamia, before you decided, and then her lawyer, her person is sitting there like, that's going to be very costly. So what are we going to flavor the rum with? Are you going to import it over here and then, I don't know. You trying to work from Grenada, a country that you don't live in. So girl, I don't know. I don't have no liquor brand. And it don't look like you going to have one either if you don't like focus on business and not butts. And the way these butts is leaking over here, I think you should take the rum bum off the table altogether, because now all we going to be thinking of is surgeries and oozing and injuries. Shoot. Anyway, that's y'all's girl, Shamia. Shout out to Gerald for showing up this week and coming with some good common sense. So Pinky and her husband have a date night. Leave it to that Pinky. She ruined everything already. She might be MAGA, and I don't know what's going on in this relationship. Y'all be trying to sell these fantasies to us, and then when we get it, then you trying to like remix it. So Pinky said after a year of marriage, her and her husband were going to end the whole thing. They were all the way down to the courthouse. They drove down to the courthouse, and she got out of the car, and he told her to get back in the car. So she got back in the car, and they prayed, and they laughed, and they went home. That's the story. That's what she came over here telling us. So she's sitting at this dinner, and she's finally telling her best friend, because she keeps calling this man her best friend, her husband her best friend, but she don't talk to this man. So she's finally telling him like about, the lawsuits that were in place when she got the business back. So she's got to deal with that. One of the lawsuits is, I guess, somewhere at one of her locations, they showed the fight, Javante, whatever his name is, that be out here punching his women in the face. They showed his fight, and you got to pay fees for that anyway. That's what her partner did. One of her partners did, maybe the one that took money. But anyway, she's being sued for $100,000 because she went ahead. I don't know. Maybe that's a copyright thing. I know you can't be having them fight parties at your business without, there's a process. There's a fee you got to pay for streaming your fights and things. Anyway, her husband said, unlike a lot of these husbands do, he said, what can I do? How can I help take some of this burden off of you? And she had a physical rejection to him saying that. He's like, what can I do? How can I make this easier? How can I help get you out of this situation? And she looked like. Then she told him, what I have going on is not your problem. On one hand, you're telling this man he's your best friend, but you're not telling him that you're going to file for bankruptcy. And I heard, first of all, he's in the restaurant business. So, he may have some advice for her. She doesn't want to hear it. I guess it's interesting that her business is vegan and his business is Philly cheesesteak. So, you got the meat and the vegetables over here, her best friend. And she said, when you file bankruptcy, that people automatically think you're broke. I mean, most people don't have a business. So bankruptcy, most people have not filed bankruptcy. I've heard of bankruptcy, and I think it's one of those things that you sit down with a financial advisor or someone of that nature, and you find out if that's the best decision for you. Broke or not broke, I would really give a shit what people think. You know what I'm saying? You're trying to get your business back in order, and that's taking some steps. And her lawyer did tell her, you can get through it, but you're going to have to go through these steps before you can get to, back into the clear again. And then, she's telling this story, about this romance between her husband where they got together and, they almost walked away, and she's been pregnant pretty much since she met this man. So anyway, I think Pinky cares a lot about what people think. And a lot of these women do that when it comes to their relationships. They want to paint a certain picture of what it is. That's what's got Angela over there swirling around. You know what I'm saying? So we don't care about the picture, I don't think, because none of us think that relationships are perfect. We know that all relationships have some type of problem at some time or another. Portia and K Michelle meet up, child, because K Michelle has to tell this girl how she thinks she's a bimbo, and she called her one on Twitter. Portia doesn't even know what the problem is, so K Michelle lets Portia know that she did not appreciate the miscarriage comment, and that I'm over here, trying to have a baby, and I mean, maybe that's why she thought that's what it was. You know what I'm saying? So you will be dramatic in telling your story. I just feel like Portia is not my favorite person. I think she's so selfish and so self-centered, and probably when you be telling her things, she don't really be listening because it ain't about her. It's about you. And I think K Michelle is very high maintenance, and she expects a lot of catering to her. You know what I'm saying? So we'll see how this friendship pans out. Portia says she would never do anything or come from anybody about no miscarriage because she represents the March of Dimes. And I don't know what the March of Dimes has to do with miscarriages or anything like that, but I mean, ask Portia because she's the representative. Anyway, K Michelle's putting 20 on 10. I don't know why she's trying to make this a thing. I can't wrap my head around why it would be a thing. Like if you weren't pregnant and it wasn't a miscarriage, then why are you so, you know what I'm saying, a bit out of shape about it? I could see if it was a miscarriage and you didn't want to tell anybody, but unless you told Portia that secret, as far as we could tell, she didn't share no secret. She just asked a question because of the story you were telling. But we want to find a reason to be mad at Portia. And Portia's like, maybe you're thinking a certain type of way because you were under the influence of, the luncheon we had with Kelly. And K Michelle's like, I ain't got nothing to do with, you and Kelly's relationship. But I mean, I would imagine that a person would judge Portia based on the fact that you came to lunch and told this ambush lady talking about you be sleeping with people's husband. So yeah, that would make me feel away. So K Michelle saying no, that's not it. I feel like you're on a little bit of bullshit, K Michelle, because yeah, that would make most people on pause. Like, let me don't, because this lady be trying to ambush you. She says she's not buying whatever it is Portia is selling. She don't believe it for one single terry second. But they hug it out. You know what I'm saying? Because that's what they do over here. They, clear things up, hug it out. And that's where this episode ended. So it was a decent episode. Like I said, next week, Shamia and Phaedra, they start kicking up dust at Slutty Vegan. So I guess Shamia is looking for somebody, Phaedra is Frack or Frick. I don't know if she's Frick or Frack, but she's over there on Team Portia. So I can see why there will be tension maybe between Shamia and Phaedra. And Pinky said y'all not about to do that down in her business. She already got a knot going on with bankruptcies and lawsuits and things. She do not need y'all over here besmirching her reputation and defamating her character. You are not going to defamate her character. Shout out to Trick Daddy. Dennis is somehow involving himself in Portia's dating. Too late, Dennis. You let her go over there and let your daughter sit on that man's lap that she brought in from Africa, that she snatched from that girl that already was married to the man. So good. We don't need your input. Dennis, go shave or something. See a barber, Dennis. I know you don't have no hair, but that hair on your face is not a good look. I don't know what Dennis got going on, but he need to go ahead and fix it. Kelly said, have you seen him lately? She was not wrong. Anyway, y'all, that's all I got for this week. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, and yeah, I'm out. I will see you when I see you. Bye, y'all.